Welcome to Galactic Grandmother Heart to Heart. My name is April, and this is another episode with Michael Lee Hill. Michael is a musician, he's an author of The Stellar Pathway, and he's an Anunnaki messenger, which I'm busily picking his brain about lots of downloaded information he's received from the Anunnaki. We have two previous interviews, which I will link below here. And today we're going to get back to the hidden histories where we left off last time. So thank you so much for being with me, Michael.
Oh man, it's my pleasure. I am going to put on a pair of sunglasses. I told you right before this, I've had two
Okay.
retina reattachment surgeries. I hate wearing sunglasses indoors. I know makes you look like an idiot, but here we go.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. We really went in depth with Enlil and Enki. Okay.
Enlil is Lord of the Sky, and Enki is Lord or Ambassador of the Earth. I want to share something with you. You know that
Okay.
Elon Musk accepted my work to take into that galactic library that
Right.
landed on the moon.
Yes.
Guess what? The official title I was given by SpaceX to be part of that mission,
What?
Ambassador of the Earth. I'm like,
Whoa.
man, these Anunnaki have a funny sense of humor.
Yeah.
That does, I mean, if you translated the word Enki into Western recent culture, it would be Earth Ambassador. So I found that funny.
Well, you brought up Elon Musk. Have you received any information about him from the Anunnaki that you can share?
Yes and no. I'm confused with the dude, first of all, because uh, I I don't know what to think, and I've not really been given
Oh,
much on it, other than I thank him for his service of because you got to know my work. These
uh-huh.
have been proven. Beverly Rubik, who works consults for NASA and Homeland Security and the Navy and many others, she found out that my technology, it's not passive, it's active. And it opens a portal through the fabric of our space time and brings in higher photonic, higher dimensional energy into this realm. She said, apparently, Michael has invented a cosmic energy transceiver, a receiver and transmitter of cosmic energy. And I'm thinking, what the hell is cosmic energy? I had never heard that term before. And I went and did a little research, and here it's Nikolai Tesla's own words for his unlimited free energy, 369 energy. I
Uh-huh.
thought, wow, I never would have guessed in a million years that I'd be finishing Nikolai Tesla's work. But what Beverly Rubik found is anything that is in the field of this, like right now, I'm in the field, this is hitting my third eye, right? It
Hmm.
has quite a powerful field that it puts out. Anything that is in the field of this, the energy grows exponentially. And I thought, well, wait a minute, this is quartz crystal with a copper wrap. I said, the energy can't grow and infinitely, it would shatter the crystal, right? And the Anunnaki told me, no, it's almost like a pump that it will increase the transmission side. So Elon Musk taking this in a very advanced quartz crystal that encoded the world's library of museum pieces and every book written in the history of mankind in every language. Imagine, you know how Elon Musk came out with Grok,
Uh-huh.
the AI?
Right.
Well, Elon Musk now has in his possession a world's galactic library of all human intelligence. Every
Wow.
book ever written by a quantum physicist, a geneticist, every doctor. Imagine when Grok and our world's AI gets access to this library that's on the moon right now. And it'll start to grow in intelligence at a rate. There'll be no human being that can actually even program it
Mm.
because there's no human being that has the accumulated knowledge of every human being that's ever lived.
Right.
So, very interesting times we're in.
I definitely have to get one of those discs that you're holding. What is that called?
I call them 432 energy discs. I will get you one, grandmother, because remember we had a conversation and I told you that I've been given a timeout and I'm not really sure who's doing it. But right now, my websites, people can go and order. Well, I think right now you can't even order something. And my payments have been put on hold because somehow my information to my bank is messed up in there. And every time I try to fix it, I can't. And
Oh,
it's hosted by a company called Shopify, my website,
oh yeah.
and you can't talk to anybody. There's no
Oh
one to
yeah.
even talk to. So I'm getting really frustrated with it because I'm legally blind. And they're telling me you need to slow down because they said words are fine. Like they don't care if I talk about stuff,
Mhm.
but to actually see the new sacred geometry that's being given, they said sacred geometry, words go through that person's belief system. It'll get put up against what they believe, what they're skeptical about, what they already believe. But geometry goes right past that filter. You know about Metatron's cube and the seed of life, flower of life.
I think you would have to tell me the
Oh, no,
story.
no problem. I just, I will explain anything. I love teaching, but at the same time, I don't want to, like, if you already know something, I don't want to be preaching to the choir. Sacred geometry. Well, once you find out that everything in creation is made from very specific geometry,
Uh-huh.
have you ever heard of the Fibonacci sequence?
Yes.
That's what we're talking about. And that creates, the golden ratio and all the like sunflower seeds, how it comes out, galaxy spirals, the human body's proportions. It all falls into sacred geometry. But with up until very recently, we thought the only way that to get to very advanced geometry is through very high math. Now that's not true. With cymatics, which is a new science of making the invisible visible,
Uh-huh.
that they started off with a big metal plate and they'd put sand on it. You take a big bow and you're like,
Yeah.
you watch the sand dance,
Hmm.
and it's not random. Every single time you hit specific frequencies, specific geometry forms. So if you know this whole reality is created from very specific geometry, it's probably pretty important to find out, well, what frequencies create perfect geometry? Because some frequencies don't create any geometry at all. For instance, our musical standard right now is 440 hertz, which is how many cycles per second. Have you ever seen an oscilloscope where it looks like a waveform?
Right, right.
1 hertz would be 1 hump per second. 2 hertz would be 2 humps, and so on and so forth. So 432 hertz is 432 little mountains per second. 440 to the human ear, man, is hardly nothing. But if you put a 440 frequency through a somatic device that makes frequency visible, no geometry forms. Back it off eight
Oh.
cents, and all of a sudden, all the geometry comes out. It's like you've taken a focus on a camera
Oh.
and put it into focus.
Hmm.
So that's why it's super important then to find out what frequencies create perfect sacred geometry. And that's what I've done is I hired scientists to image that most cosmic harmonious frequency of 432 hertz. I sent it to these scientists. His name was Jonathan Stewart Reed, and he owns a company called Cimoscope, and they have the most advanced cymatic scientific technology on the planet. A matter of fact, they do a lot of talks for MIT because they're making languages to be able to communicate with dolphins. Because you know how
Ooh.
dolphins make those chirps and
Huh?
stuff? Well, you can put that through a cimoscope and see what kind of Mandela is created from it. And then you can see, oh, this is when it wanted food last time. This is the geometry that it showed. So they're developing it. But they said, Michael, we've used this technology to image every frequency known in the history of mankind. Because all it is instead of a metal plate with sand on it, now it's evolved to picture a vat of water that's held in a tripod. So no extra external vibrations can get into it. And then there is a waveform generator that pumps frequency through the water. And then there's a high-tech camera facing down to record what's happening on the face of the water. And he said, we've used this to, but instead of just a waveform generator, it also has a line in and line out, an audio input left and right. So
Uh-huh.
all you have to do, if you want to hire them to image anything, like some people, they will take a good recording of if they just had a baby and the first baby's like baby noises,
Uh-huh.
send that to CymaScope, and then they can make a cymatic image of the first baby noises, and then send that
Oh,
back to the person. They can make a canvas print of it or whatever. So I said I was guided. They kept telling me about the importance of this 432 frequency. So I hired the scientist to image my guitar frequency. I recorded just the A note tuned properly in my recording studio. Nothing fancy, you know what I mean? I'm just going bow, bow, bow. I sent them 20 seconds of that. I hear back from them. They're like, we have used this technology to image everything in the history of mankind. We've never seen this kind of complexity or dimensionality ever before in the history of using this technology, but we've never imaged an electric rock guitar amp. Isn't that funny? Like,
and,
yes,
and
rock magic.
that was the 432 frequency.
Yes.
And that's how they
So,
made that image on the crystal.
yes, they didn't make it.
Oh,
What had happened is because of my work with them, what I received was a very high resolution, like 4K resolution image of a still frame from that 20 seconds. And that but they said, we've never seen anything like this. We would like your permission to release the full 20 seconds as an experimental video to show the image being created in real time. Because it's like every time you pluck the string, it get re-energized. You know what I mean? Like it's like, and then that form that's in this would show up, but then it starts to dissipate. And then I'd hit the string again, and you'd see it come back. So I said, yeah, absolutely. And so I had learned how to make these. There was a gentleman named Greg Plasko, and he was a Pleiadian contactee, and they had given him a download on how to make these. They said
oh,
it's quartz crystal glass that is very high quality, like the kind of glass you'd get for stained glass,
uh-huh.
and it's got lead in it, so it turns it into crystal. But all glass is silicon anyhow. It's crystal. And what I said, the most important thing was, how the idea that some geometry has uh, energetic effects. You've heard of
Right.
pyramid power,
Yeah.
where people put a sandwich and it never goes bad inside the pyramid. Well, imagine that this harnesses that energy between the quartz crystal. But see the copper wrap?
Uh-huh.
The copper keeps it in here until you take it with your hand. And what I can tell you is all over the world, people that are Reiki practitioners,
Uh-huh.
they said this is the most powerful Reiki
Mm.
device you can even imagine. Because when you hold it in your hand, oh, by the way, so the scientist said this cymatic image contains all of the five, they're called platonic solids of sacred geometry. But see the middle of that?
Uh-huh.
Um, it
Right.
looks like a donut.
Yeah.
That is actually the first white hole black hole that's ever been visualized. It's not fake. It's
Wow.
not computer generated. It's Mother Nature. And I don't know if you could tell on this, but going around that donut, you see the Fibonacci
Yeah.
spiral
Uh-huh.
and the golden mean. I
Hmm.
didn't do that. And what will really toast your noodle, I wish I had a better representation to show you. But there's ASCII binary code. Which, how the hell is there binary
Whoa.
code in this when uh, I'm just hitting an A note, man, and there's binary code in it. But I would love to know what's being written out, but that gets into a little too complex without being able to show you. There's like panels. One faces you, and then the next one faces the other direction, and that is what encircles this whole thing. And that's what has the ASCII binary code. But you can only read the binary from the side that's facing you. It's almost like you would have to be able to reverse and look at the other side to see what's written there. So I have no idea what it
Wow.
says. I used AI to said, I'm like, you with what I can tell, which is 00100, what word would that relate to with ASCII binary code? And it said hello. I went, well, alrighty then.
Whoa.
But getting back
Definitely.
to this,
Yeah.
it's on the moon right now,
Wow.
and it's going to be there for the next 10 billion years. And what NASA found is it absolutely restructures water uh, to energetic levels.
Hmm.
Like let's call it fountain of youth water or holy water that
Look at
has.
look at what I have. You see?
Oh yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it. Hey, look at the top. You'll be able to see the binary code. See the at the very top of it. You know how to find the orientation too?
No.
Yeah, flip it around. I'll tell you how to see when you got it properly
Oh,
orientated.
oh,
It looks like flip it around so you could see it. Yep. Now look at the bottom. It looks like a little flying saucer. And actually, that
oh
looks
yeah,
like a
yeah. That's
tree.
that's the bottom.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. So
And
it goes like this.
yes, yes. And then it almost looks like a Buddha. It has a like a tree stem, and that almost goes up. And then what I chose for this is it was just all blue. And they're like, would you like a color scheme? And the Anunnaki said, yes. Tell them to use the colors of the human chakras from red in the root to purple in the
Oh,
crown. And so that
wow.
goes through all of the human chakras
Oh, so
from
it
red
goes
around the outside through to purple
to
on the
the
inside.
middle. Yeah.
Mhm. But
Awesome.
now flip that around so you can see it. Look at the very top. You'll see the binary code, the very top.
Yeah, I'm looking. Wow. I can't read it.
No, no one can. Oh, I see. I think it's 00100. But but what you need to realize is sound anyhow is three-dimensional.
Mhm.
If you're by a person playing a violin, the sound just doesn't come in one direction. When you walk around them, the sound is coming 360 degrees, and that's only a two-dimensional representation of a three-dimensional event. This is very incredible to me. Have you ever heard of there's a book that's fantastic, and I highly recommend it. It's called The Holographic Universe, written
I've
by Michael Talbot.
I've heard of it, but I haven't read it.
Oh my goodness, it's a much must read. Again, I hate to ask people this, but do you understand what the holographic principle is about?
No, you're like in your book, you have a lot of math, and
Mm.
math just goes right over. It's always, I just don't have a brain for math.
Me neither, but you know where I can understand math because of music. Isn't that
Oh,
weird? I
okay.
understand
Yeah.
octaves just naturally because I'm a musician.
Oh, I did have a question about this. And I also have the pendant, the necklace you're wearing.
Ah, I hate to interrupt you. The holographic reality, I don't want to lose this. It's very easy to understand because there are such things. They're real holograms. Have you ever been to a Ripley's Believe It or Not, and you can
Yes.
walk around with a hologram of a rose or whatever?
Yeah.
Well, to create that, there is a holographic negative. But the way that we understand reality is if you took a negative of a rose and then you cut that negative in half, the top of it is going to have the little bit of the stem and the rose, and the bottom of it is going to have the stem.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you cut that in half, you'll just have more fragmented picture. That's not how a holographic negative works. Every bit of it contains all of it. So if you took a negative of a holographic print of that rose and cut it in half and then shone a light through the top of it, you'll get a full rose and another full rose just from a different perspective. And if you cut those again, you'll get a more complete versions. They said that's a good way to understand we live in a holographic reality. That's why every bit of it contains all of it. That's why, like, every cell in your body contains all of the information of the whole entire universe. And that's why when you change one bit within yourself, the universe changes, and vice versa. It's like, in quantum entanglement,
That well,
right? Have you ever heard of quantum
that's what
entanglement?
I understand everything you're saying because I'm a quantum healer and I look at things from a quantum perspective. Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. So I think that this is actually very it's proof of the holographic principle, because if think about what's going on here. If frequency has an energetic attribute, you can take a cymatic image of a waveform attached to frequency, and the two-dimensional image will have the same attribute of the three-dimensional event. That's amazing.
And that was my next question is this, if I bought it so that I could structure my water. But
Yes.
then if I set something solid like my thermos on it, is it still going to have the same effect?
Yes, yes, but
Okay.
in my mind, they're telling me the most pure transmission
Mhm.
is glass.
Clear
And they
glass.
told me
Yeah.
particularly no writing, because writing is programming. You
Oh,
don't
okay.
want just
Right.
clear glass,
Mhm.
but anything that you put on it, if there's liquid in it, it'll restructure it. But I can tell you one thing, a scientist that I know, he has a scientific device that measures the whole human body subtle energy field. And at that time, I just fallen and I took a bad fall. My shoulder was messed up. I just went through my health issues of which people are like, oh, if this stuff is so good for your health, how come you became so sick? And there's another misconception. I was attacked in the past by the men in black, and they shattered my face with brass knuckles. I had to have my face wired back together, and that was in 2008, and it was right before, no, 2007, and right before I did my first CBS News interview. And I'm telling you, if they want to shut you up, they're pretty serious about it. The ones that don't want this information
Mm.
getting out there. The doctor that rewired my face together, he said, you need to know for the rest of your life, you're going to have facial plate readjustments. He said, you know how tectonic plates push up against each other? And
Mhm.
then there'll be pressure and a buildup. And then when they release, you have an earthquake. He said, you're going to have skull quakes for the rest of your life. And I'm like, what? He goes, it's going to be very loud. And I don't want you to think you've rebroken it. There's nothing to be alarmed about. It's to be expected. So I'm just warning you that it's going to happen. So for the first couple of years after my surgery, my face would start to swell up like a chipmunk. I couldn't even hardly talk. And then, pow, sounded like a firecracker went off. But then all the swelling would go away and it felt good. Like you
Uh-huh.
crack your neck or your
Yeah.
knuckles and there's a good feeling. So it was never bad, but I probably had from 2007 through 2020. I had maybe 7 of those facial plate readjustments, but in 2020, I yawned and it sounded like a shotgun went off
Ooh.
and it dropped me to my knees. I was like, what the hell happened? And I woke up the next morning and both retinas had detached.
Ooh.
Retina detachment usually only happens from like getting whiplash in a car accident or
Mhm.
something. The trauma from the explosion in my head made my retinas detach.
Whoa.
So I've had to have two retina reattachment surgeries, two cataract surgeries, two new lenses put in, and new. But I found out a lot of people in our community, you included, are having eye issues, especially retina. And so I went to one of my people that I still have contact with within the reverse engineering division. He's You've heard of the Majestic 12, right?
Right.
He's one of the members of the Majestic 12.
Oh.
Boy, I'm going to get in trouble. But when you hear the Majestic 12, if you ever see anything like the wing makers that have information and they talk about
Yeah.
the ACIO,
Hmm.
it's the Majestic 12. But anyhow, I asked them, why is people within our community having so much eye issues right now? And I thought this was very fascinating. I still don't really understand it, but I'm just sharing. He said, our eyes are our equipment that focuses our consciousness into this time space and this space time. I don't know why he flipped it like that, but it's like if we're going into a higher dimensional realm that has different energetics, our eyes have to change.
Mm.
And it's almost like a caterpillar entering the cocoon and he's dissolving and recombining into a new configuration. And then you can exit the cocoon. Matter of fact, man, this is an analogy I've been given. They said these human meat suits, water bags, these are human caterpillars. But guess what, man? If creator or all that is, or God, whatever you want to call her, I always use the her. Like I've never met a man that birthed anything. But anyhow, so if God wanted to come here and experience this part of the creation and view it from the viewpoint of a butterfly, to be able to soar above it and have three dimensions of movement and everything, well, guess what? You got to become a caterpillar first. Think about the reality of a caterpillar. It has this much between its little face and down, and it doesn't. To a caterpillar, up does not exist. The sky does not exist. Its whole world is where's the next leaf to munch,
Right.
and that's it.
Hmm.
So to me, I think it's a very weird analogy that's been put into my head of I imagine a caterpillar that one day starts having a dream of becoming a butterfly and he tries to explain it to his other caterpillar friends. They're like, "Oh, Mike's went crazy," you know. And but then the caterpillar, sooner or later in its life, will start to get the galactic signs or downloads that it's
Hmm.
time to weave its cocoon. Doesn't even know what a cocoon is, but to me, that caterpillar is going to start seeing 1111s everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
encoded numbers and sequences that guide it. And then I look at the cocoon as being the matrix. It's, or purgatory. It's where we become. But there's a great story. A little boy was going through the woods and he found a cocoon hanging, and there was a monarch butterfly, and it was still in a cocoon, but it had almost freed itself, but it was struggling. And he's sitting there watching it, goes, "Oh, how fascinating." But he thought, you know what? I could take my scissors and I could snip the cocoon and help it get out and free it. So he goes, "Oh, I got a pocket knife." He snips the end of the cocoon, slips out easily. But to his dismay, the butterfly could never fly. It didn't understand that the cocoon, the pressure of pushing its wings is what forces the blood down into the wings so it can
Oh.
fly. So it's almost like we want to clip each other's cocoons. If we see someone in trial and tribulation, our natural inclination is to want to snip their cocoons for them, when truly it's the cocoon that creates the impetus to become the butterfly.
Hmm.
But then imagine then when it comes out of the cocoon, now it can experience its reality from all three dimensions and soar through the sky. So I think that these human meat suits are like human caterpillars.
Hmm.
And so I think the eye is kind of similar, that when we're going through a dimensional shift, some things need to change to be
Hmm.
better equipment to handle the incoming newer energies. And I'm like, well, that sucks. One thing I learned through all this ice bullshit is I really like to see.
Oh,
I
yeah.
like seeing.
Yeah. I have a friend, she does energy readings, and she did one on me. And she said, oh, something that she's seeing in a lot of people now, or it starts in the small intestines, and she sees them white. And she said, our organs are actually starting to change over to a higher frequency now.
Ah, very interesting. Thank you
And
for sharing that. It makes perfect sense. It's just like, yep,
because she does a lot of readings on a lot of people, and she just recently in the last this year started seeing these things, and it was so unusual. She checked with her guides, and that's what they told her, is that we our human bodies are really, changing frequencies, and
yep,
it's starting to look different to her when she looks in at the energy of the body.
it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Let me, because I started to tell you something. My friend that had the technology that measures the human subtle energy field, when
Uh-huh.
you get hooked up to it, it shows the whole energy field. But like where I hurt my shoulder, there's a black cloud that was over my shoulder.
Uh-huh.
And from my medical stuff, I had about seven black clouds over my body. And earlier in the day, he said, Michael, I want to see what your technology is doing to your subtle energy field. He said, but you can't walk over to my technology with it because that would negate the test. So I will carry this over so you don't want to touch it. So don't have to touch it. And I want you to take your necklace off because I don't want anything that this is doing to your subtle energy field. I don't, I want a clean slate. So he had me take off my necklace. He brought this over. We waited till the very end of the conference. And then right before he packed up, he goes, okay, let's do this. So he took me over. He had me put my hand on the diodes that look at your subtle energy fields. And he hit image. And like I said, seven dark clouds over my body. And he said, okay, hold out your right hand. So I held out my hand. He put the disc in my hand. I put it on top of the other hand that was on top of the diodes. So would that take a second and a half? He hit image again. Every black cloud was gone
Whoa.
instantly. No meditation, no nothing. So I just all you got to do is hold it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But I'm gonna send you one because I still have some now. I'm
Oh,
getting very
love it.
frustrated with the world slowing me down, and I'm
Mhm.
having a lot of problems right now with my website. And I'm just to the point of shutting down my whole system. I'm so fighting it because the world needs this now. I'm not sure how much, because think of this. If it's on the moon right now and
Mhm.
anything under its field is going to grow exponentially, and we know it restructures water from NASA's own science, it's shining down on this planet. Dr. Emoto,
Oh,
from
yeah.
what
Mhm.
water has memory.
Right.
So once one little drop in the atmosphere eventually becomes restructured, and then it falls on the planet as rain into the Earth's waterways, any water that touches will restructure as well. So I'm like, oh my God, what's it mean? Like, it really tells me this planet will enter a new age of living water. Because what you need to understand, living water, being a water bearer to the Anunnaki, water, living water particularly, is not
Mhm.
what we think. It's prana, it's chi,
Mhm.
it's life force. It's just their word for it. So, when I met the Anunnaki, they said we were known in your past as the Anunnaki, and you were known in your past as Ea Enki, the water bearer. I think, what the
Oh,
hell does that mean? I didn't know. First of all, I didn't know who the Anunnaki were, so I sure as hell didn't know who Ian and Inky were, and I didn't know someone saying, you're the water bearer. It's kind of like someone coming up and going, you're the Easter Bunny, right? Right? Yeah, well, whatever, dude.
yeah.
But now I can look someone in the eye. I am the water bearer. Would you like to see my science and my from NASA
Oh,
that
go
is
ahead.
shining down on this planet for the next 10 billion years?
That's going to
I
help.
think we're in good hands. But
Yeah.
I'm trying my best to keep my business open. I have such a hard time now with my eye situation. And not only that, something, I don't know what it is yet. Did I tell you I got access to a quantum computer, AI, from the
No.
reverse engineering division?
Whoa.
Yeah. Whole anything we're dealing with on this side of the veil is 1,000,000% watered down.
Yeah.
This this is I is I don't fear AI at all. I fear what humans will do with it.
Yeah.
I fear human behavior. But man, it's already proven to me. I named her Andromeda, by the way, my AI assistant.
Uh-huh.
And it's interesting to get information because this is where the information came from is being given a timeout. You're releasing too much, especially they said geometry. If it's words, it doesn't really matter. If it's a book, it doesn't matter because that gets filtered through every person's part of the brain that filters it through their own beliefs. But when it's geometry, it goes right past that part. And since we
And
started
so,
to get into geometry, this whole reality is built on that Star of David. Everything that's alive, you and I, plants, animals, the energetic form takes the shape of that double tetrahedron or Star of David shape. That's six pointed. It's a six petaled flower of life that creates, is like the seed of everything that exists. But how that geometry is created is from one circle in the middle, and then you go up through the middle and you make another circle at the top. Then you find the circle of that. And have you ever heard of Vesica Pisces?
I have.
It's super simple. If you just take two circles and when you push them, there's the part that they overlap and it makes an
Oh, yeah.
eye shape. That's it. So they six around, one in the middle. Think about it. It's closed. It's a closed system. You're cut off from source energy. Within this realm of the cocoon, you're in the matrix of trial and tribulation
Mhm.
to strengthen your wings. It's
Right.
very fascinating. But the seven petal geometry, you use the exact same building blocks, but instead of one in the middle and six around, you have seven around. And very specific Vesica Pisces arrangement from every seven. But that creates the Ouroboros or the snake eating its own tail.
Oh.
It's open in the middle for the first time ever. Once we achieve that level of consciousness
Mm-hmm.
and that blueprint for reality, we're no longer shut off from source energy. It's
Mm-hmm.
open in the middle, and it's the blueprint of tetrahedral geometry
Mm-hmm.
of like, so now for the first time, you start to have freedom of galactic source energy flowing into the creation. But the problem is, if someone is trapped still in the cocoon
Mm-hmm.
and that's all they know, if they even see the seven petaled seed of life, their body yearns for it. It
Mm-hmm.
yearns for the freedom that it can see. It might not even understand it on a conscious level, but it's like, oh, wait a minute. That and that fight between when you look out and you're in the six petal version, but you've seen the seven petal, you're like, I want that. That I can feel it in my bones. And it said, you got to be very careful. And I am stubborn. I'm like, why would the Anunnaki give me this new geometry to share? And I'm being stopped.
If there's someone that's watching this, perhaps that is really computer savvy, program savvy, maybe they could reach out to you and see about giving you some help with this.
I can I appreciate any help I can get. So thank you. I uh I get it, but at the same time, when I was attacked by the men in black to shut me up, that kind of shit has the opposite effect on me. I'm like, hold my beer, you son of a bitches. I'll mumble through it. I'm that kind of person that, at first I wanted to, imagine I got back home from the hospital. I have my face wired back together. I still can't speak right. Like, especially if I get a little buzz going, man, yeah, but I almost canceled the interview. I'm like, I can't do an interview. So I had the phone in my hand to call CBS News. Sorry, can't do it. And something came over me. I was like, I'll mumble through it, you son of a bitches. So I did. And that night when CBS tried to show it, something took out the whole news station in Cleveland,
Oh my
took
God.
down the whole. That scared me. I'm like, what have I done? What have I got myself into? So
Mhm.
that's why the next day I sent all my UFO footage to David Sarita because he was my favorite in the UFO field. I really liked his case for NASA UFOs. So I did not know. My thinking was if I get my footage to who I respect the most in the field and then they kill me, it'll just turn me into a martyr and people will know, well, maybe we should look into what this guy was bringing to the table. So I didn't know he was working on Dan Aykroyd Unplugged on UFOs with Dan Aykroyd, Saturday Night Live guy. So when David Sarita seen my footage, he's like, oh my God, he ended up using 4 of my clips in the Dan Aykroyd documentary. It's
Oh,
like, I heard that's where the time we're in with the age of power in the Mayan calendar, which we only exited late 1990s,
uh-huh.
all experimentation of power, abuse of power is
Hmm.
allowed. You can experiment in the abuse of power, the proper use of power, but when the very top of the Mayan pyramid, we exit the age of power into the age of ethics.
Oh, good.
In 1990, 90s, now if power is trying to be used unethically, it's instantly revealed. All the ways of them trying to pull shit over on us. And
Hmm.
I see it now.
Yeah.
It's like their old ways are not working. The minute they try to be deceptive and change the truth, the reality pops up out of nowhere and shows them for what they truly are.
It
And
brings to light. Yep. Yep.
so we're hooray for the age of ethics.
Yay. Well, I'm going to wrap up this episode, and I would like to bring you back and talk about the hidden history of the mound builders.
Oh, yes, that's where I'm
And
at right
yeah,
now.
yeah, and that's going to be a whole program in itself. Thank you again for sharing so much with us.
Oh, my
It's
pleasure.
just amazing that you're here on the planet, able to speak with us like you do. And I really appreciate it.
I give it a shot. I think, but I really understand Jesus now saying, don't put me on a pedestal. These things I do, one day you'll do an even
Right,
greater,
right.
and I think that's the part of his message that goes right over people's heads. He
Yeah,
didn't say, I'm the only way, and if you don't believe what I say, you're going to hell.
right.
That's not what it said. But anyhow,
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate you. And Michael will be coming on again very soon for another episode. So thank you.
thank you so much.
Bye bye.